Welcome back to Turning Hard Times into Good Times. I'm your host, Jay Taylor, and I'm really happy to have with me once again Chen Lin. Chen is the author of What is Chen Buying? What is Chen Selling? And you can subscribe to his excellent newsletter, his money-making newsletter, I should say, at chenpicks.com. Welcome, Chen, and thanks for joining me again.
Thank you, Jay. Glad to be here.
Always good to have you with me, Chen, for your ideas because they are unique, they are yours, and it's I think it's the original thinking process that provides so much value for your subscribers. Before we get into this today, I would like to ask you just your comments on the employment numbers this morning. Quite shocking. I think quite lower than expected. 235,000, I think. Non-farm payroll numbers, and I know Bloomberg was looking for 733,000, so that's just about a third of what they were looking for. What are your thoughts about today's numbers, and were you surprised?
Oh, I was a little bit surprised, but there's a talk. I subscribe to other also newsletter. We exchange actually idea with other newsletter, right? That people are very specialized on that. It seems to be that there's a lot of education job. 200,000 was not, was pushed back due to whatever.
COVID.
So there is not that bad, but it is bad. This is pretty bad. But it shows, the Delta variant actually probably threaten a lot of industry like the travel and leisure. There's very little job gains from that area versus huge job gain. Actually, they revised up last month. It's over 1 million, actually. So actually, that make the next month's job data very interesting because we have the unemployment benefit cutoff, right? Cutoff in a few days, we won't have, unemployment people won't get the extra benefit anymore.
Right.
So they have to start looking for jobs. So that actually makes September job number very interesting. See if there's how many job gains, if any. And second, it's probably will put the Fed on hold for September. There's so much talk that the Fed wants to start tapering, make an announcement at least in September. I think this is a done deal, right? So they won't do anything. They probably just, we will see, they will just use the excuse. They will see it maybe in November, right? What's the next Fed meeting? And then that makes we have a two job numbers, right? We have a September and October job number.
Right.
So they can potentially look back and decide whether they're going to taper. That actually push back the schedule probably to early next year. I think, that's probably earliest.
Yeah, I have no doubt that this COVID variance is causing people not to travel as much. I was just over the lunch hour today was listening to them say that people are hitting the roads. They're driving more now and flying less. So I think people are just not really wanting to get on an airplane still to a great extent. Well, tapering is a big question in my mind, Chen. I have this sort of notion that tapering is more talk than action. That we saw when they tried to taper during Bernanke's days, yet it didn't go so well. Interest rates go up just a little bit, and all of a sudden the equity markets start to tumble. But do you think, how seriously do you take tapering? Why would they want to do it? Because, doesn't everybody want to have the party continue?
Yeah, everybody wants to have a party, especially the Powell is for the re-election next year. So I think he will try to make this as smooth as possible. So he will try to delay it as long as he could. But right now, you see the overnight repo is unbelievable. There's so much cash in the bank. They've got no place to put. There's no use. Right now, the mortgage application start to drop as the mortgage rate, the loans availability start to drop because their housing so expensive. People just not buying so much. So the fact to keep on buying at such aggressive pace, it creates another problem. What I feel is he probably will try to taper a little bit. And then get to his re-election, and then we'll see. So I think that they probably can do 10 billion, reduce by 10 billion, and then the slow pace, and then see if there are any problem, right? And then on a very slow pace. Yeah.
So they'll buy $10 billion less of treasuries or mortgage-backed securities or whatever that is the Fed buys. And that's against what are they buying now, Chen? How much are they spending now?
If I remember correctly, $60 billion. Something. It's a very, very large number. Right. They just push so much money into the banks. They're flooded with cash. They have to do overnight repo, and we know that it could create another problem. So I think for Powell, after I watched him in the past years, he probably just trying to take it as a timid step as possible, as a little step, but don't take any risk and get reelected first.
Yeah, he wants another term at the Fed, and there are some people, especially AOC and those on the more far left of the Democrat Party, they would like somebody, I guess, a little more aggressive than Powell. But Powell is trying to do everything, it seems, politically to stay in power. So we'll see how that goes. But taper. I mean, it's just crazy too with interest rates, Chen. Banks don't really have any incentive to lend. I mean, they can't get enough interest to cover their losses. Essentially, they can't charge anything essentially. So it's
exactly, and they're sitting on so much cash they have nowhere to put, and that's the problem. It's not that like they don't have enough money. So yeah.
Well, it's certainly it's certainly here as we're recording this on Friday for our show on Tuesday. I should mention that it certainly has given gold a boost today. Gold is up, I don't know, $22 or so as we're speaking.
Exactly. Go back to the critical 1830 area. They're trying to hit through 1850. I knew for a fact a lot of people were shorting gold ahead of the labor market number, job number, and now they got flat-footed. See if they cover or not. I think that we have very decent chance gold will penetrate through 1850. That's when the short will force to cover. Actually, we can have another rally, but that will be very, very nice. Starting September, we'll have a rally.
So what do you see with inflation numbers rising dramatically? Are you concerned about inflation, Chen, or do you think that's going to run its course here? I mean, a lot of people there's certainly both sides of that argument. A lot of people that are saying, well, the economy's not nearly as strong as they thought it was. We could have an equity market decline here. There could be a lot of factors that could, that could temper the inflation rate, or make it temporary.
Right. Right now, the household balance sheet is probably the best thing because of all these stimulus. Right?
Yeah.
The stimulus check. There's a lot of money in the household. It's a transfer from government to people. There's talk, depending on Democrat, there depending on election next year, right? Depending on if Democrats can keep the control. If they may transfer more wealth to the general public. That can be very inflationary, right? Because right now I heard people are showing me people when they buy new cars in California, they were just 10,000 over sticker now because there's so little cars available because of the chip shortage. Yeah. And then all the people with all the money want to buy a new car. So
that could be an inflationary effect. Yeah. So we're combining shortages and supply chain disruptions all around the world that are causing prices, that are playing a role in rising prices, along with this enormous amount of money that's pumped into the system. But Chen, I know you pay a lot of attention to China. You know people in China. You talk to people there. What are your thoughts about China and how they fit into this whole equation? And I know with regard to gold, you always think China might have a role to play in that as well. But what are your thoughts about China now in general?
Yeah, China right now, they could be heading into slowdown, and there could be significant slowdown. Part of it, the Chinese government recently just start to really hammer those big business. They want the wealth transfer. They want the social equality. This is like AOC, but it's 10 times more. Okay, so they want the wealth transfer from the big company to the little guy. So they want the social justice. They want all the other. But with those kind of changes, a lot of times they create uncertainty for the company, for the business.
Sure.
So I think I hard to imagine all these CEOs in China got concerned. Okay, so I think the growth in China for next year is cloudy at most. Okay, so and could head into significant slowdown. But again, if China head into slowdown, Chinese government, the first thing they do, they will just infrastructure spending. They just build all these railroad and maybe empty apartments, maybe all the whatever. They just build the way out. That's the typical. But I don't know if they, the things I see. Of course, we have to watch carefully for the next few months. China could head into some significant slowdown when we have rebalanced the COVID a little bit more under control. The country like India and Vietnam, they can start manufacture. I think China could be in little trouble next year.
Interesting. Well, I would think if China slows down significantly, that has to have an impact on a lot of commodity prices and other things as well, though, Chen. In the short term, anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I have concern with energy, with oil, even copper. 50% copper consumption is in China. So despite all the green thing, all these electric cars, Goldman said the demand was going up. But if China really slow down, the base metal could have some trouble.
Right. Chen, I can't let you go before I ask you about biotechs because you are the biotech king, as far as I know. What are you seeing in biotechs now? I know you've mentioned it's been pretty bad a good part of this year so far. Recently, you felt that maybe the biotechs are turning around. What are your thoughts now about that sector?
Yeah, so biotech is one of the worst hit. Actually, people were saying, airline, cruise line were hit worse by the COVID. No, it's biotech was hit most by COVID. Why? Because they multiple fold. COVID prevented the trial because they have all these trials going on. Suddenly, the hospital, they have a COVID patient. And then suddenly all the people participating in the trial, they don't want to go to hospital anymore. So there are so many companies, the trial got delayed for a year. Very common. COVID also stopped the new drug from reaching to consumer because the people don't go to a hospital anymore. They just remote talk to their doctor. Doctor just gave them the old drug, right? The new drug, you have to marketing it. You have to tell the doctor. You have to show them. You have to those virtual marketing so far has been disaster for those new drugs. So all these things together combined with this patent talk, Biden administration, that didn't help. Okay, so biotech is having one of the worst years in decades. So I think it's good for investors. Keep an eye on big price, right? Big drug innovation, and it can have a very significant 2022. So that's what I'm looking at. And we talked about Tricida. I mentioned also quite a few I have, and I'm starting accumulating from now till the end of the year. I do not know whether tax loss selling will create better opportunity or not. I don't, but I start to accumulate the position here.
Yeah, you mentioned Tricida on this show a couple of weeks ago, and a very interesting company. They are going forward with their trials, I believe. They're a drug for kidney.
Actually going better than expected if you listen to their conference. Because their drug is for those chronic kidney disease dialysis, so all the patients have no way to go. So that's actually the trial has no interruption. The stock was down 90%. Good for us, right?
Yeah, it certainly is. It's down today on Friday as we speak a bit, but. Tricida.
Very low volume. If you look at the volume today, volume is so low.
Yeah.
So far, I look at the volume. 60,000.
Yeah, very low.
Like down 5%.
Yeah,
so,
very low.
If you look at Steve Cohen bought more than 2 million last quarter. That takes a lot of effort to buy 2 million shares because so little share up.
Yeah. TCDA is a symbol. Trades on the NASDAQ. And you still like Amyris, too, for the long run?
Oh, yeah, I like Amyris. Amyris got hit hard today as well. So all these small biotech, I think maybe some sell-off before the Labor Day weekend or something. So, it's been very hard today.
All right, Chen. Well,
had a very good few weeks. Past 3 weeks has been very good, except today. Yeah.
I guess we should just mention that you're going to be at the Metals Investor Forum. It's going to be a virtual event. It was supposed to be in Vancouver, but because of the the COVID setbacks here, where it's going to be a virtual event. How can people hear you and in the companies that you're going to be taking there? You've got American Pacific, Kodiak Copper, Guanajuato Silver, Lakewood Exploration, and Firefox Gold are the ones that I see you're listed for. Some of those are followed in my newsletter, and one, Firefox Gold, is a sponsor to this radio show. But how can people be sure to listen to that, Chen? They can view it virtually.
Yeah, they can register for free at the Metals Investment Forum, the website, and you can also ask questions during the presentation. So you have any question for this management, you can ask right at the presentation. So it's on the 17th of this month, two weeks from here.
Exactly, 2 weeks. So we'll look forward to that, Chen. Thanks again for being with us.